Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is MVPerry, and today I'll be talking about how to know what your aesthetic is. Or rather, how to find your aesthetic. First of all, what is an aesthetic? Well, it can be many things. Mainly, it's a style, a vibe. Something that looks appealing to you, feels appealing to you, and represents you to everyone. For example, cottagecore is an aesthetic about being in nature, with mushrooms and animals. While vaporwave is all about 80s and early 90s stuff mixed with a dreamlike state and nostalgia. There's all sorts of aesthetics, and they're all very different from each other, and then there's other ones that are kind of similar to each other, but we're gonna be nailing it down to the one that fits you. We're gonna figure out what your aesthetic is. Here are some suggestions for how to get an idea. First off, we have assess yourself. Look at yourself and ask yourself, what are the things I like? Do you like video games? Do you like playing sports? Do you like to draw? Do you like foraging for mushrooms? Once you figure out what your personal favorite things and things to do are, you're a lot closer to finding your aesthetic. Usually there's one for every lifestyle. So if you like skating, listening to 90s music and dark colors, you might be a grunge or a skater. Do you love books, studying, and deep philosophy? You might be dark academia. How do you find such an oddly specific aesthetic name? Well, they're all listed on the Aesthetics Wiki, a special website where you can find lots of established aesthetics that have been around for a long time. And there's also new ones, but mostly these have been tried and true and tested or whatever. Which brings us to the next part. Browse aesthetics. Using the wiki or honestly just plain Google, you can search all the most popular aesthetics and see if any stand out to you. You can literally type top 10 aesthetics and see if one of them catches your eye. The nice thing is, if one catches your eye but it's not quite what you want, you can just search for similar aesthetics or sub-aesthetics which share something in common. Next option we have is to look for inspiration. This is what you do when you haven't really built up your personality or you just aren't sure what you like. Like you just have no idea. You don't know. So it's time to start developing yourself. Look for inspiration. Look for things that will make you happy, things that grab your attention. This could be watching movies, playing games, reading books, listening to music, literally just having fun by consuming different types of media. If you try enough random stuff, I'm guaranteeing this, I'm promising you, eventually something cool is gonna stand out to you. Something is gonna speak to you. You're gonna see it and think, yo, that's just like me for real. And you're gonna latch onto it and make it your personality. But doing this whole inspiration thing, that means you gotta really go for it. That means trying stuff that you never would have even thought of, almost randomly. If there's a movie that seems kind of interesting to you, but you aren't sure, watch that movie, figure it out. Next, we have compare aesthetics. Have a few aesthetics that you're interested in? Well, that's great. Now it's time to compare them with each other and see which one is the best for you. Of course, a person can have multiple aesthetics. I mean, that's very common. Most people have a few different ones that they like. But this video is about finding your number one, ultimate favorite aesthetic, the one that you love. If you like weirdcore but feel something is missing, compare it to kidcore or dreamcore, which are all amazing, by the way. Every single one of those is cool. They might be kind of similar or surprisingly different. It's up to you to choose which ones you want to compare, and then out of those different options, which one you like the most. Another thing we gotta do is try a new aesthetic. Choose an aesthetic that appeals to you and incorporate it into your everyday life. How do we do that, MVPerry? Like this. You change your wallpaper to it. Wear clothes that fit the aesthetic. And listen to music and watch stuff of that aesthetic. If you do this for a few days, you'll either realize it's perfect for you and it represents you very well, or you'll find it's not for you, and that's okay. You gave it a shot, and it's time to try a new aesthetic instead. The nice thing about doing this step is you really get to know an aesthetic, so even if it's not really your thing, you still have an appreciation for it. Last but not least, this is the last option. This is like the nuclear button, Normally, we don't have to do this, but if you've tried everything and it still hasn't worked, that's when we invent an aesthetic! As long as you know what you like in your head, then it's all solved very easily. Create your own aesthetic. It might sound dumb, but that's okay. If you really like bumblebees, bumblebeecore it is. If you're obsessed with studying and philosophy, but you're also an e-girl, you have e-girl academia. While not everyone else will recognize your aesthetic, that's okay. Just tell them about it. Tell them that you made it yourself and none of the other ones quite fit you. There isn't an official company for aesthetics, so it's not like a new one has to be officially licensed and copyrighted. These are simply styles and expressions for the people of the internet, or real life, or anyone at all. But be sure to do your research. There's some very specific aesthetics out there. Just because you don't like the famous ones like cottagecore or streetwear or indie, maybe coconut girl stands out to you. Anyways, comment your favorite aesthetic or aesthetics down below. As always, my name is MVPerry and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.